Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Well, it is that time again. End of the month, end of the arc. Time to do my afterthoughts. Make It So Part 1. Looking at the notes here, one of the rare times I make a video where I actually read a lot from my notes. Mostly because I know I'll forget some of the shit I want to say. Especially some of the bad shit. Start as I always do. Start with the officers. And I have sorted by group here, so let's take a look at them. I do think both officer abilities are pretty good. They will add a lot of isolated damage. Will be good for certain grinds over other grinds just because some of the new grinds, like say Monavine, and I have done a video about that, it has isolated damage research, therefore you will get more out of this isolated cascade officer abilities from both Picard and Data. Now, Data does not have a captain ability. I do like that they changed this lack of captain ability to something that isn't offensive. Like, say, unfit to lead is slightly offensive, especially if you may have served in the military. To say that you aren't an officer, you are now unfit to lead, which is bullshit. They changed it to what? I think they've been kind of changing it depending on the individual. But Data has a below deck ability, which, yeah, I mean, you like adding more below deck abilities in the game. Does bring more officer abilities as in total into the game. But do we really need another max cargo officer? I mean, we already have a max cargo officer below deck. Remember Stranger New World Lon, who they refused to source? Okay, I mean, and then there's Tuvok for the Voyager. And how many other officers with either a captain ability or an officer ability for the bridge? We saw a few months ago Admiral Freeman. You got Mavry. You got Borg Stone. You got regular Stone. You got 2 of 11. You got whoever else I am forgetting. Yes, I understand we want more cargo, but it's essentially a copy of another below deck ability. And I'm not even sure if it's even better. It's literally the same. At least with Stone and Borgstone, one's an epic, one's a rare, so one is actually better than the other. So it's not necessarily a copy. I would have liked Data to have a captain ability. He was captain of his ship at one time. I think I mentioned this in the Arcfall video. He was some maneuver they were trying to catch some Romulans cloaking, and they made some net with all the ships, and Picard put Data in charge of one of the ships. Seems like he should have a captain ability here. What else do I got? Picard's captain ability. Now, I know this is probably an unpopular opinion. We do like the increased loot. We like it that it's going to work against hostiles and armadas. What I don't like is you have his captain ability working against armadas. Why does his officer ability also, phrase that correctly, his officer ability should also work against armadas. Otherwise, he's essentially a copy of Geordi. Geordi has the same captain ability. as in 60% loot gain. And Jordy's officer ability is relatively ineffective in Armadas. It actually technically does work in Armadas. It just doesn't do that much. He is damage against Klingons? Klingons. He's damage against Klingons, which will increase your damage. It's just not that much. Card's officer ability here actually doesn't work at all in Armadas. So he's actually worse in Armadas than Geordi. That's stupid. That's stupid. But however, at least Captain ability works against hostiles. And really to finish it off, and you'll see what I think about it, really, there's no sourcing mechanic. Yes, there was plenty of opportunity during the month, and that was nice. I will talk about that a little more when I talk about events. This is really more about the officers themselves. There is no, I want to say, like, stable or consistent sourcing method. So, no, thumbs down on the officers. There's a lot to like here with the officers, and I know many people are going to disagree, but without sourcing, I can't stress this enough, it just doesn't matter. If you're not here in the game playing during this month or even next month with the event store, what chance do you have to benefit from this officer? None. Take a look in the past over the 5-year history, since this was the 5-year anniversary month. If a sourcing mechanic doesn't come out in that month that an officer comes out, how often do they make a sourcing mechanic later? It has happened. Yes, it has happened. It doesn't happen that often. And how often is it an actually good sourcing mechanic? So, gotta go with the thumbs down for the officers. If you know, it does kind of pain me to do that, because I think there's lots of potential and a lot of good here. All right, moving on. Missions. I do like that the event that's associated with doing the missions did have scoring for other things, like some of these storyline events. That was nice. You don't have to stress about doing missions within a certain time. Depending on the server, you either get attacked a lot while doing missions or you don't get attacked at all. Can be harder for some players as opposed to other players. Shouldn't everybody have the chance to do the missions? Yes. But shouldn't you also be able to attack players too? So you can't really... It is really nice to give other scoring options for that event. The implementation, or the rollout, didn't go well for the missions. There was some problem in actually claiming the missions. You do expect those to happen, so it's not terrible. But it is something that happened. As far as the rewards themselves, look, with the board cube coming out, free-to-play had how many shards for the board cube? Like 20 shards from the battle pass, I think. Was it 15? Somewhere between that. What did they get from the missions? 5? It's a little on the low side for free-to-play. And again, where's the sourcing mechanic for the board cube? What are they planning to put it in the event store? Okay. Is that good enough? When you only run 3 of them a year, I don't know. It really depends on how much currency you can get for the event store free to play and how much currency the board cube will cost. We don't know this yet. Is it going to go in Cosmic Cleanup? Personally, I think all the specialty ships should be in Cosmic Cleanup. Otherwise, what's the point of Cosmic Cleanup? There's your mechanic for sourcing the specialty ships. Or missions. Missions are a staple. There are always new missions for when an arc comes out. It is nice to do them. They are relatively fun. I don't read a lot of the dialogue, but they are fun. You got to go here, and then you got to go there, and you got to follow this chain. You got to kill this hostile. Teeny tiny, minute tasks, and you get a reward. It is kind of nice, but really disappointed that they didn't source more board cube fragments in the board cube mission chain. So, gotta go thumbs down, man. I think part of why I'm so down on this month is I went into it seeing it as the 5-year anniversary month. I thought it was going to be a celebration of this game and the community and the players and the people that worked on it and promoted it. I just thought it was going to be more enjoyable for everybody, and I don't see it. Don't really see it. Moving on to events. Payouts, I think, were okay. I don't think they were really high. I don't think they were really low. I think they were right about where they should have been. There were several storyline event sets. You go, 4 or 5 days, and there's several events throughout that time. You do those events, you get the reward, and there's also a larger milestone for completing the events in a storyline. I do like those because you know it's like double the reward. You get the reward for actually doing the event, and then you get a reward for doing all the events in a set. That's nice. I like that. That is rewarding to players. Thanksgiving event. I do like that the events were relatively easy. Do like that there was a little ticket thing involved. You gave some free to play, and you also gave spenders an opportunity to buy more. That works. That is a good monetization method. Free to play, pay to get double the rewards. That's a great method. It's a benefit for the spenders, and free to play can still engage with it. Don't really like the rewards. I thought they were kind of meh. I guess I just really didn't see a whole lot of value in that officer claim, just because I thought the shards per officer were low. Yeah, there was some chance to get full rares and half epics, but like a 1% of a 1% chance to get that. And it's like, it's too low. So where's the value? You're going to get 10 officer shards. If you use all your Thanksgiving currency on the officer pool, you get 10 officer shards. Meh. I mean, it's nice and all, but it's a very low number. But at the same time, it was relatively low effort. So it does kind of even out. But again, 5-year anniversary month, thought it would be more of a celebration, more gifts handed out. Excuse me. And no, not compensation gifts, because so much shit was jacked up beginning of this month, which was to be expected. And I'll get to that in the features. Where am I at with my event stuff? The rare ticket event. I do like the idea here. Again, it's the same as the way the Thanksgiving event was run. With the ticket events, you can engage free to play. Spenders, you can spend to get a few more tickets. And then with the rare tickets, if you did all the ticket events in one weekend, you get a rare ticket and you could do a rare ticket event Monday. And even free to play, you can engage in that. Rewards may or may not be worth it because you're going to pick your 9 events free that are going to have the rewards that you want. And they may be 9 of the same reward. Well, you can't do that all in one weekend. You will get, 3 events of each reward set, which is fine. You see the value in that. That's fine. But it is nice that you can engage if you so choose. And if you're a spender, you can spend and get a little extra. That's a great monetization strategy. What I really don't like about the event was really the rare ticket event itself. The one that happened Monday. I didn't really like the officer choices. Strike Team on Tendy, Old Man Riker, Captain Riker, I guess. Tendy is in Transporter Patterns, and I think Transporter Patterns are phenomenal sourcing. So putting her in that rare ticket event it lessens the reward in my opinion. Captain Riker, I think, especially with the original strike teams, the new strike team variant with the isolated damage, and the Carol Freeman crew that we use. Captain Riker is a shit officer in PvP. Yes, he technically works, but you're not getting too many wins with all these other PvP crews out there. So he's pretty much worthless. Strike Team on, I think, was a good choice. But at the same time, if you're putting one strike team captain on one reward set, how do the other 2 reward sets not have another strike team captain in each of them? Why was Gold Dukat and Wayu not in there? I mean, duh, right? Completes the triangle, completes the 3-sided circle, or the triangle, or however you want to define it. I don't really get that. And this time around, they did announce ahead of time what the officer choices were for the Monday rare ticket event. That has to continue, assuming they continue to run these rare ticket events. If you don't tell people what the officers are in the rare ticket events, then you're going into the Monday event blind. Especially for free to play, you could, spend all your tickets into one weekend, and then you get to Monday and you look at the events and like, these officers are garbage. I don't want these. I wish they would have told me ahead of time. I would have said no and gone about doing my ticket events a different way. Now, they did announce it. They did. But we know how communication goes with this game. It's not always great. So that is something to keep our eyes on. So I think I'm going to give tickets a thumbs up. I think the events were good. Yes, I would have liked them to be a little better. And really the only problem I have with the rare tickets is not the greatest officer choice. And they have to keep up the communication. So I don't know that it was too much to give them a thumbs down. So thumbs up on the event. All right, so let's go to... I'm really trying to, give some kind of background here instead of randomly putting a random spot of the game up. It's kind of silly, but let's give some kind of background here. Feature number 1, the feature that was for everybody. Well, Now, let's go to the feature that wasn't for everybody, and I'll close with the feature that was for everybody. G6 was the feature that is not for everybody. If you're not in the high 50s or a level 60 player, you were not going to engage with any G6 content. I mean, unless you dropped a whole bunch of money and you're at 57. You dropped a whole bunch of money, you probably get above 60, maybe. So I'm not that high on it. And I think because of the implementation of G6 is what caused a lot of the problems early this month. And yes, I understand it's always going to be a spend feature, but you really haven't made G4 or G5 free to play yet. So should we really have another grade that's high spend? I mean, however, the new currencies, Sigma, Parsteel, dilithium, and tritanium, really? Why? Why? Did we really need to do that? Did it really need to be new currency? Why? I mean, there is a conversion. You have in the past just increased how much Parsteel, tritanium, and dilithium things cost. I'm not sure that creating a whole new currency set is beneficial. Especially if you drop the base cost down. With some of these efficiencies researches, specifically maybe, or for an example, the wording has changed. Dilithium efficiency for research has been changed to dilithium and sigma dilithium efficiency for researches. Now, if you lower the base costs, in the number value, will you not get less cost reduction? If you left it at 10 billion per research, you get a 50% cost reduction. Drops it down. But if you change the base of the currency itself and the currency cost, aren't you reducing the efficiency? It sounds possible, but I'm also not there, so I don't really know. It's just something that sounds right in my head, and it just does it. I don't like the continuous adding of new currency. Why? Why? And the speed ups. This is like things I'm hearing secondhand, but speed ups? No longer can you spend only 300 Latinum for 1 day speed up. Nope. It's like 3 million Latinum now for a day of speeding up. These aren't exact numbers, slight exaggeration, but it's closer to that, which just sounds stupid. What was wrong with where it was? Not. Because it does slow down the progression rate a little bit, maybe. It doesn't sound like a good thing to me. Again, it doesn't sound like a good thing. I don't know this for a fact. All right, what else? Oh, what's the deal with this hazard space? Again, this is things I'm getting secondhand. You send your ship to a hazard system because it is part of the daily event that you have to do. Send your ship to the hazard system, and because of the hazard system, it takes damage away from your hull. Okay. As far as lore goes, it is, that is something that's happened in Star Trek. So that is nice that they're keeping up with the lore, but at the same time, because of warp times, you send your ship to the system, it takes 5 minutes. Are you staring there at the timer for 5 minutes? ready to start your grind when you get in a system? No. People don't do that. So you send your ship, you go to do something else, you come back 2 minutes after, we'll say you came back at the 7 minute mark. Well, your ship was in there for the 5 minute mark, so your ship spent 2 minutes in the system doing nothing. Should you really be taking damage? Should I now have to go back again because I couldn't do enough grinding because you took shit out of my hull? I don't know. I guess it does depend on where the research is, or a building, if it's a building, can help mitigate these hazard systems. Again, I don't really know yet because I'm not there. I just know what it sounds like. It does sound kind of neat, but at the same time, it sounds kind of frustrating as hell. What else was I talking about? Oh, what was the reward for doing shit in this hazard system? You got faster mining or something? Part of some daily event? You do such and such task in hazard system, you get faster mining. Oh, cool. I don't give a shit. Whatever. So, I mean, I would like to give it a thumbs down because I think it all sounds stupid, but I'll do this for G6 because, I don't have that much information. Let's go with the feature. As you can see on the screen behind me, Borg Cube. You know how I feel about the Borg Cube, and I don't really understand why there are so many people that like it. I mean, you like what you like. There are so many things. I guess it's really one thing. The cutting beam, especially in PvP. PvP, I kind of understand why it's not bigger. It just does seem somewhat ineffective, being that it's as small as it is. But in PvE, when you're grinding reds, look, if you can't do your normal grind, killing your normal faction hostiles, or your normal swarm hostiles if you're still hitting swarms, or your normal freebooter hostiles, or your normal Jemadar hostiles, if you can't also grind with the cutting beam, 2 shots minimum. Any more than 2 shots with a cutting beam to kill a target, and you lost me, okay? But if you can't hit your regular hostiles with the cutting beam and grind with a cutting beam, because that's how you get the loot to refine and upgrade the ship, then the Borg Cube loop is a separate loop. It's a separate loop. Do we really need more loops in this game? Especially when there aren't that many loops getting cut out or made obsolete or combined with some of the new things. Like the way Freebooters was, right? Yes, you added a Freebooter grind, but with the research, you eliminated the swarm grind. For the most part, anyway. I say the Franklin and Swarm hostiles are obsolete, but that is just my opinion. Some people will disagree, especially some of the lower level players. But once you hit 38, boom, you're done. You don't need that anymore. Can you say the same with the Borg Cube? No, you can't. I'm telling you, with the way the cutting beam is set up, the numbers for the cutting beam, you can't go hit your normal hostiles, charge the cutting beam, and then 1, maybe 2 shots with the cutting beam and get your touchdowns so you can refine and get parts and research. And even if it is its own loop, yes, I guess that's fine, but what's the benefit? I'm looking at some of that research and it's meh. Doesn't help you that much around the universe. Really, I think what it does is the Borg cube does grow so it can be like another ship. But again, what's the grind like? There are enough other grinds in this game already. Grind so I can have another ship as big as my biggest ship. Okay. Just get 2 faction ships. That is relatively easy. You can grind them out for free. With G4 anyway. You absolutely can grind out a G4 uncommon ship. I've done it before. It didn't take me that long. Especially with the capital systems. And you can do that while doing your normal grind. You don't have to do a whole lot of extra stuff, if any. You do with the Borg cube. And what's the benefit? It might be cheaper to repair. That's about it. Might be. It does seem like that may kind of benefit the whales more, maybe. Especially because they'll just buy a bunch of packs and they'll, have tier 12 Borg cubes already. It's kind of disappointing. And I mean that's fine. If you want to buy a bunch of packs to get the Borg cube up there because you see benefit in it, because it is relatively cheap to repair compared to, let's say, whatever your biggest ship is. If it's a little cheaper to repair, is that a little beneficial? Yeah, sure, that can be beneficial, but the grind getting up there seems like a slog to me. And I guess, really, to wrap things up and give features a big thumbs down, wrapping it up, I had higher hopes. I did watch some of the other content creators, the ones that are supported, I guess, compensated by the people running this game. I am not one of those. Probably never will be. I mean, not the greatest content creator, and I don't say nice things about this game all the time, or many of the times. There was a little bit hype about good things coming. I'm like, I don't know if I see it. And 5-year anniversary month. What? Didn't feel like a 5-year anniversary month to me. There was no 5-year anniversary event. There was no 5-year anniversary event store. We have a bunch of these 5-year anniversary coin token doojabob things. There's no store for those. They haven't even told us what the store will be. Assuming there is still going to be a store for them. Not a good month in my opinion. And I do think part of it was I just expected it to be better because of the 5-year anniversary, which just kind of fell flat, I guess. Comment below. This was the 5-year anniversary month of Star Trek Fleet Command. Did it feel like it to you? Are you getting annoyed with me because I hate the cube and you love the cube? You annoyed by that yet? G6 players, if you watch, assuming I have any G6 players in my audience, some of the things I said about some of the new G6 things, comment on those. I know I don't know a lot, but I did get some of this information from, around the community, and it doesn't seem that great. Does G6 seem good to you? two good officers this month that had high potential, and I think kind of maybe didn't fall as flat as the 5-year anniversary arc, but they did kind of fall lower than I think they should have. It would have been nice for them to be a little better, even though they are good. It's like, well, they're good and they suck at the same time. Really, because they don't work against armadas, even though Picard's loot gain works against armadas, but the officer abilities don't. It just kind of bothers me for whatever reason. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.